Legal scholar rips Judge Merchan's sentencing decision, explains what it means for Trump. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're continuing their lawfare even though Trump won the election. In spite of him winning the election, they still continue to come for him. They really have no grounds here. We all know that only in the Southern District of New York would Trump be charged federally, be charged from a state for federal charges. It's just crazy. This whole thing, the only reason they did it is because of who he is, because of Trump. And they was trying to use this as a tactic to make it where he wouldn't run for the election and win, and it ended up backfiring. So I don't know why they continue to do this. They know that it's not they're not going to actually give him any type of consequence. So really, what's the point of this? So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about one of the great constitutional minds, Jonathan Turley, and talk about what he has to say about it. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Daily Wire, and they report that prominent legal scholar and George Washington University Law School professor Jonathan Turley on Friday criticized Judge Juan Merchan's recent decision in the hush money case against President-elect Donald Trump as the, quote, final cathartic act for lawfare warriors. As highlighted by the Daily Wire, Judge Merchan on Friday dismissed the Trump bid to have the hush money case dismissed due partly to a U.S. Supreme Court decision on presidential immunity. Instead, the Democrat judge assigned Trump's sentencing for January 10th, 10 days before his inauguration, and signaled that he'll impose an unconditional discharge. And, I mentioned it yesterday as well. I've done a couple reports on it. But Turley explained that the decision effectively provides a talking point for the anti-Trump media on Inauguration Day, that Trump's a convicted felon, but it also allows Trump a path to appeal. Quote, Judge Merchan just set Trump for sentencing shortly before his inauguration. As some of us predicted, he is indicating that he will impose an unconditional discharge without jail or probation, Turley explained on X. The sentence will finalize the case and allow for an appeal. However, Turley noted the decision also labels Trump, quote, a convicted felon just before he is sworn into office, which the law professor says was the final cathartic act for lawfare warriors. It's just they just want to be able to label him his entire tenure in the White House. That's what this is really about. Well, Merchan will supply the talking point for the inauguration coverage as reporters repeat the mantra of the historic status of Trump being sworn in as a convicted felon, Turley said. At the same time, Trump, quote, will also finally be able to see an appeal of his case, he explained. While there are low expectations for the New York court system, the sentencing will allow the full array of alleged errors by Merchan to be placed before the appellate judges. While this court, as a matter of law, must not make any determination on sentencing prior to giving the parties and defendants opportunity to be heard, it seemed proper at this juncture to make known the court's inclination to not impose any sentence of incarceration, a sentence authorized by the conviction, but one the people concede they no longer view as practicable recommendation, Judge Merchan wrote in his ruling. Trump spokesperson Steve Chung reacted to the decision on Friday, calling it, quote, a direct violation of the Supreme Court's immunity decision and other longstanding jurisprudence. The lawless case should have never been brought, and the Constitution demands that it be immediately dismissed. There should be no sentencing, and President Trump will continue fighting against these hoaxes until they are all dead, Chung added. It's crazy. It's like we live in bizarro world that these things are happening. They still not giving up on slandering this man. That's the whole thing. That's the whole reason why he put this sentencing 10 days before inauguration, just like Jonathan Turley said, so they can call him a convicted felon. and besmirch his name and all these other things because they can't stand Trump. They can't stand that the people have spoken and voted for this man and want him to fix our country, and they can't stand that the majority of Americans are for Trump. So they just want to be able to label him something to make it feel like they won they won something. That's what this is all about. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.